the culture through song and dance. That's a little bit of what I'm going to share with you today, along with a ceremonial dance that comes from the Pueblo people called the Eagle Dance. But first, before I get into my dances, I want to share a little bit about this instrument, the hollowed out tree trunk that's used for the frame, the animal hide that's stretched across it, both materials that come from our surroundings, our environment. My people always believe that everything has spirit. So when we look at the sun, Grandmother Moon, Mother Earth, the trees, the birds, everything has spirit, including us humans. So with that, my people believe that you could communicate on a spiritual level. One of the ways the Creator gave to my people is this instrument. Many other type instruments to express our feelings. Over the centuries, there's millions and millions of songs that were composed for just about every reason you could imagine. Right now, I'd like to sing a song for you. And this song I use as an appreciation song. Whenever a native person that knows about his culture, when he feels good, like gets up in the morning and he really feels good about the day, he might just bust out in a song because he feels that way. And this is that type of song. How'd you like that? This dance outfit that I'm wearing is what's described as a fancy feather dance outfit. And this set of feathers I have here, typical of that style of outfit. And that's what determines the name of my dance clothes. These feathers that I'm holding here I made back in 1973. The beadwork that I'm wearing also I made when I was a young teenager, and I would travel around the country and I would share my dance styles with a lot of different communities. There's many different dance styles that exist in our dance circle today. And this particular dance outfit came out of the Oklahoma area around the turn of the 20th century. In the early 1900s is when it was first seen among the Ponca tribe. And they took the old Warrior Society outfits that were used earlier in time on the Great Plains. And the songs originally were composed for the warriors. And they were a way that a warrior could tell about his stories, his adventures on his journeys. when the buffalo began to fade, they were almost extinct, hunted to extinction. And the way of the warrior began to fade with that buffalo. So it was a long time from the mid-1800s into the early 1900s where that man's way of life was taken from him. Because long ago on this land, there was no such thing as Walmart, supermarkets. There was no banks like we know today. The only way that a man could survive and provide for his family was to live off the land. So those warriors were our dads, our grandpas, our uncles, nephews, our sons. They loved their families. So when those warriors went off on their long hunting expeditions, many times they were fallen. Many times they might have battles with their enemies. They wouldn't return home, and it was a sad time. But when they all did come home safely, it was a real happy, joyous occasion. And they gave thanks through song and dance. So all of our songs and dances tell the story. But these more modern, more contemporary ones are more about a person's expressing his emotions and feelings through his dance moves. So I'd like to share with you the style of dance that comes from the Oklahoma area, but it has spread throughout Indian country, throughout the nation. And the basics of all our dances, no matter what style, is drum beat. So if you listen to the song and the drum beat, a good dancer can flow with that music, with that rhythm, and be able to do his dance move. And that's how a dancer is determined, I guess you might say how good he is how he can flow with that music. So I'd like to share with you my version of what I call the fancy feather dance. These feathers on my dance buses here, the long ones, start from down here. They actually go all the way out here, and these smaller dyed chicken hackles are tied onto that. And these are actually from the eagle's wings. These two feathers in my headdress come from the tail of the golden eagle. This next dance I'd like to share with you comes from the Southwest among the Pueblo tribes. This wall over here to my right, that's a depiction of an adobe brick Pueblo style home. If you could imagine a wall like that, maybe about 5 stories tall, and then all the way around, leaving this area flat. That's typical of how they built their homes. This dance is done mostly during the spring months in those villages. Utilizes these feathers. You can see how large that bird is. A full-grown eagle has a wingspan of over 7 feet. The female eagle is larger than the male eagle. Here in North America, There's two different species of eagles. The first type is the American golden eagle, which is where these wings and these feathers in my headdress come from. The other is the American bald eagle. And you can tell the difference because of their coloring of their feathers, also where their habitat, where they live and what they eat. The bald eagle is like a fisherman. It hangs around, he lives around the lakes and the coast. And his main diet is mostly fish. The American golden eagle lives up in the tall mountains and tall cliffs and tall trees where he builds his nest and raises his family. And his diet is mostly small animals like rabbits. So that eagle has always been respected by my native tribal people. If you were able to travel around the world and visit the 7 major continents, each of those land masses has its own version of the eagle. Places like Asia, Africa, Germany, Switzerland, they all have their own eagles that are very similar to our two type here in North America. In this land, the tribal elders, tribal spiritual leaders have always used the feathers on a spiritual level, a form of communication. Songs that call back the spirit of the eagle that once possessed these feathers while living on this earth. They say the first song that's sung in the ceremony calls the spirit of the eagle back. That's when the community members of that tribe, they say their prayers for their children, their homes, their community, the things they value in their life, like their occupations, maybe even their vehicles, their livestock. They say through that dance, as it goes through the motions, there's literally hundreds of songs that go to the ceremony. The last song that's sung is said to send the spirit of that eagle back to the Creator, the unseen world, carrying all those prayers. So they take this dance very seriously. I'm going to only use one song, one of those hundreds of songs, and it comes from the village of the Jemez Pueblo, out of the state of New Mexico. Myself, I always like to point out and stress that all of our songs and dances are a form of storytelling. This dance tells the story of the eagle's life when he first hatches from the egg, takes his first flight, then learns to hunt, to feed himself and his family. Toward the end of the dance, turning in a circle, representing the eagle spirit returning home. They say that before the first Europeans ever crossed the ocean, there was never no written word here, no books, no pens, no papers. It was told through our language, our stories, our ceremonies, our songs, even our dances. So I'd like to share with you my version of the eagle dance. a lot of history in my dance clothes, where the beads came from. This breastplate I'm wearing, they say the original hair pipe bone came from the Middle East. They were turned from camel bones. The brass items, the metal items, they came from France. The glass colored beads came from places like Czechoslovakia, Italy. This was way back in the 1500s during the fur trade. They brought those items over. They traded for the furs and pelts of animals. That's when the native people started to decorate their clothes with these different items. And they say that before those items were brought over, it was from the earth that we took most of our clothing from, like the animal hides, the different pigments, and soil, sand, paint they made. So there's a lot of history behind everything that I'm sharing with you today, especially the eagle. The founding fathers of this country chose the bald eagle as the messenger, the mascot, symbol of this country. If you ever watch the President of the United States speak from the White House, look behind him on the wall, the President's seal. Right in the middle is a figure of that eagle, top of many flagpoles. Even on the post office trucks, U.S. Postal Service, have that figure of the eagle. So myself, as a native person, I see those symbols mean something to me. My people look at those symbols like that President's seal, and we could read it, we could see things in there and know what it means. So in that way, I just wanted to share that little bit with you. I'll be available for photographs right here on the steps of the stage. We'll start a little line right here if anybody would like to take a photograph. I'd be happy to do that with you. So have a wonderful afternoon. I appreciate your applause. I have 2 more programs at 6 o'clock and 7:15, so be sure to come back and visit me again and have a beautiful afternoon here at Knott's Berry Farm. Thank you.